Welcome to another episode of Kiss My Assets.
The transparency, the openness, the communication is more than you could expect. I'm sold.
Don't let the fact that you don't know something or don't know enough about something hold you back.
I knew I wanted to invest. What better way to invest than to invest in what I already know that I love, which is real estate.
It was initially the 12% return, but it quickly turned into the people.
Welcome to another episode of Kiss My Assets. I'm Jamison Manwaring, CEO of Neighborhood Ventures, and we have a great panel today, which includes Bart Dill, our leader of investor relations. Hey, Bart.
Howdy.
And our leader of finance, Heidi.
Hello.
Heidi Butler. So we are excited to dive into some of the things that are happening today in the world of multifamily, the world of Arizona, which is where we're located, and we have our investments are all currently in Arizona. So we keep a really close tab on what's happening. And we're going to start out with a headline that's good in some ways and not so good in some ways. So Arizona now, one of 10 least affordable states for home buyers. New data shows. This is an article that was in Phoenix Business Journal. And Arizona has always been known as a place that was more affordable than California. So you might live in Southern California. You're paying an arm and a leg for your rent, or you can't afford a house and you say, hey, we can move out to Arizona and buy a house. Let's go out there. Well, this new article is saying that Arizona is now becoming less affordable when it comes to buying a home. And the new study is saying that the median U.S. home price, which has now reached $408,000 last year, and that's compared to the median national income, which is about $69,000. And Arizona ranks number 9 on the list of least affordable states to buy a home, according to the report. And in this report, they look at the median home value in Arizona. It's $428,000, while our per capita income is $62,000. So the cost to buy a home is 6.9 times higher than the median per capita income. And this is a really interesting and important topic if you are an investor in housing, which we are, multifamily housing, because the cost to buy a home is always going to be a big driver of what happens with multifamily homes, what happens with rents, and what happens with value of apartments. So in some ways, this is bad news because we want things to be affordable. We want Arizona to be an attractive state to move to. But in some other ways, it also means that probably more people are going to need to rent for longer.
So
Yeah.
one thing I noticed on this article, and just in a few other articles I've read this week, a lot of the issues that people kind of touch in these articles is people in major corporations buying single family investment properties.
Yeah.
A lot of bigger companies buying 20 or 30 homes in Phoenix, single family residential homes, which ends up driving up the price in the area and taking away that market for regular home buyers.
That's a big complaint among homebuyer advocates and affordable housing advocates. Certainly those people have looked at Arizona. Those funds have looked at Arizona as a place that they wanted to come in and buy single family homes. And there has been some legislation introduced at the federal level to limit their ability to do that, but nothing has passed as of now.
Another data point in the article that they talk about is lack of skilled labor. So lack of skilled labor is driving the cost per square foot for new construction to skyrocket. So with the significant influx of residents and people from these feeder states, Arizona more than ever needs electricians, we need plumbers, we need HVAC, contractors, more construction folks in order to make these new builds more affordable.
It's a double-edged sword with that.
Yeah.
Like they don't have homes to buy, but we need them to come here. It's a weird situation.
The other thing that Arizona has always had an element of is that incomes weren't nearly as high here as they were in, say, California,
Sure.
Yeah.
Washington, Seattle. We didn't have the tech base and don't have the tech base, which are high paying jobs. If you compare Arizona, our median income last year was $62,000. Per capita. In Colorado, for example, it's near 80,000. In Washington, it's near 80,000. California, it's over 80,000. So our incomes have always been a little bit depressed here. We have a very broad workforce, but I do think incomes are moving up, especially as we get more skilled workforce when it comes to the big driver in semiconductors, and that Arizona and Phoenix becoming a hub for semiconductors, that will certainly drive it up. But the other states that are in these top 10, many of them are in the West. Number one is Hawaii. They have a 10 times, almost 11 times per capita income to the cost of buying a home. California, Utah, Idaho at number 4, Montana at number 5, Oregon, Washington, Colorado, Arizona at 9, and then Rhode Island, the one kind of East Coast state that's in this list. The thing that stands out to me is the cost of buying a home out here is less in many cases than the cost of buying the homes out east, but the incomes are higher in many of those cities out east. We also had an article from the Wall Street Journal which pointed out that Arizona and Phoenix specifically is the new job hotspot. Phoenix, Orlando, and Albuquerque, and that growth in these Sunbelt areas have vaulted these locations ahead of San Francisco and other powerhouses that had always been those places that you wanted to go for a job. So even though our incomes have been lower historically, I do think incomes continue to move up, as pointed out in this Wall Street Journal article.
Well, and I think this speaks to that tech point that you noted earlier. We are seeing a different shift, that we are finally attracting these kind of techie people to Phoenix. One of these examples in this article is Maximus Powers, who's an AI software engineer, talks about wanting to come to Phoenix because it feels like he's living in the future. Living in downtown Phoenix is high tech. You've got self-driving cars. You've got all these new features. It's a New York City feel without the people of New York City, without that big of a population surrounding you. And that seems to be a driver for a lot of people.
And Arizona is very friendly when it comes to bringing new technologies here. We have a very friendly government. This is one of the first cities that Waymo was launched, these self-driving cars that are going around. We also had a governor that allowed Airbnbs to be anywhere, that superseded cities who wanted to say, hey, no Airbnbs in our city. Our governor said, hey, Airbnbs, as long as the HOA isn't against those, we're going to allow them. There's been this forward thinking with Arizona that has definitely fed into that over the years. And we're really becoming a much more mature city, but we're still young. And a lot of change and a lot of innovation is part of our DNA here.
Well, in this, it also says since 2020, job postings for Phoenix have jumped by more than 60%. Conversely, the Bay Area's postings fell by 25% during that exact same time. So we are definitely seeing that in-migration of people coming to Phoenix still. Hasn't changed. They're still coming.
So one interesting trend that we're also seeing with home buying is what we call non-romantic co-ownership in America.
I love that title.
What a sexy title, non-romantic co-ownership of housing. We heard of co-parenting, so having a child, not being romantically involved, but you're going to co-parent the child. Now we're having co-home ownership. And this is driven by some really basic things. The cost of owning a home is pretty expensive. Folks aren't getting married as early as they used to, so they are staying single for longer. So now we see the rise of co-home ownership becoming a real trend where nearly 15% of Americans have co-purchased a home with a person other than their partner, and another 50% would consider doing it who haven't done it yet.
Wow. I actually have 3 buddies who are considering doing this together right now. One will put the initial down payment. They all 3 have agreed to pay market rent, and then after a year, take the profits and go put a down payment on another home and then rent out that home. It's like house hacking. And I think a lot of Gen Z, a lot of millennials are going to be doing this soon.
It's almost impossible to afford a house today if you're a single person in Phoenix. You have to have a really, really high income if you're by yourself wanting to buy a home. And you also have to save that down payment. So the idea of co-home ownership is kind of like the same idea with co-parenting. It's really, really difficult to be a parent by yourself. But if you can bring another adult into it, you have shared values, you have the same objective in mind. You don't necessarily have to be romantic with that person, but you achieve that together and then you share it. It's kind of a partnership. This is something that we're seeing across the country now. And Gen Z is the group that's saying they'll do it the most. Nearly 70% of Gen Zers saying they would be happy to co-own a home with someone outside of their romantic partner.
If you're not getting married, I think that makes so much more sense. I mean, if you don't have any romance involved in a transaction like that, just the complications of a relationship, think about how many arguments you've just avoided right there. And going in on it with friends, you can plan, you can invest. It seems like such a clean pathway.
The problem is once someone starts dating and they bring the other one in the picture, then you have more people living in the house.
That gets complicated.
Yeah.
And then that person's going to go buy another house.
You've got to have solid contracts
Yeah,
when
you got
that
to have a
comes in.
contract.
So the Arizona Athletic Grounds, the park formerly known as Bell Bank Park, is going from losing nearly $1 million a month to nearly turning a profit, according to the park's new president and owner. This park was a one-of-a-kind 320-acre park that's out in the Mesa Gilbert area, and it got a lot of attention in the Phoenix area because at this park you have softball fields, you have football fields, you have volleyball fields, 320 acres of just athletic park. And you have really great build out of bathrooms and vendors and stadiums. This place is just huge. When it first launched, there was a lot of excitement around it. And then quickly we found out that this park was losing money. It went into bankruptcy and a new entity came in and bought it. They've now called it the Arizona Athletic Grounds. And not only did they come in and take the park over and bring it out of bankruptcy, but now it's nearly turning a profit, which is an exciting thing to see. I drove by the park over the weekend and it was bustling with folks.
Yeah.
The new owners and the new CEO, instead of taking any debt, which is what really caused the problem on the last ownership, they have no debt. They brought in all equity on the property, which gives them a lot more flexibility to figure out the business model as they bring in new operation team. They were able to keep a lot of the current team in place to continue the operations. But the real positive side is they're starting to see huge attendance at the park. Over President's Day weekend, over 40,000 people were at the park.
Wow.
And it's just good to see this project that was kind of dead come back from the ashes as things do in Phoenix and survive and thrive right now.
I think it's really important to have a facility like this. Arizona is such a year-round sports hub. Kids can play baseball here all year round, indoor, outdoor. Same thing with basketball. They can be here all year round, football all year round. So to have a facility like this, it's going to bring people from out of state to come here and want to check out this facility. And then people that live in Arizona, we have the luxury of sending our kids there someday and then making use of the recreational spaces that's going to offer.
Well, and it sounds like they have some celebrity investors that are helping participate. Russell Westbrook, who's an NBA star, invested in is leading out the basketball center over there.
Yeah.
So it's cool that they're getting people involved at different levels and bringing in kind of some cool names to be a part of the project.
And we have cool projects for everyone that we're talking about today. The other project that's big that we need to talk about post the Oscars, where, Barbie had such a big night and Ken had a big night.
Had a huge
We got to
night.
talk about the Arizona Mattel theme park, which is also under construction. The theme park, they're calling it the Mattel Adventure Park, is now aiming for a 2025 grand opening. This is going to be part of VIA Resorts in Glendale, and they will have a soft opening in 2024. But this resort, which is going to be Barbie themed, has 4 hotel towers at the resort and an 11,000 seat amphitheater, in addition to a bunch of roller coasters and Hot Wheels themed rides. So it won't be all Barbie, but there will be a bunch of activities there with the theme of Mattel, Barbie, Hot Wheels. Kind of brings something for everybody, but this is a really unique park. This is the first of its kind and came right here to Arizona.
I think it's so fun. It's so nostalgic for both me and my husband. I mean, I didn't play with Hot Wheels, but Barbie specifically, and they'll have a Barbie beach house, which will be a rooftop bar.
Wow.
They haven't announced the Ken Mojo Dojo Casa House, but maybe in the future they'll add that because that'll be a winner. But it's such a cool idea.
Who wouldn't want to enjoy a drink or a bite at the Barbie beach house overlooking a pool and pretend that you are a doll like those dolls? I mean, your first time you can actually go in Barbie's house.
Yeah.
It's
all
crazy.
The bachelorette parties are going to love that.
Yeah,
it's
going to be huge.
Just about to say, it's crazy to build a resort based off of, the main one, Barbie.
Yeah.
My buddy created an entire business plan last year based off Barbie. He's the most masculine guy I know. Last year, when he got the trailer that the movie Barbie was coming out, he sourced a bunch of hot pink pool floats and he's selling them on Amazon right now. So buoy beds. If anyone hears that, you can get hot pink pool floats for your Barbie summer.
He let the trend be your friend no matter what. This is going to be a pretty cool place that's specific to Arizona. There's going to be in addition to what we already talked about, Hot Wheels will have a 4D ride and Hot Wheels go-karts as well. There will also be a Masters of the Universe laser tag and mini golf course as well. So some cool stuff happening in Arizona. We got something for everybody when you come here.
Sounds like we need to do a company trip and test it out so we can let people know.
Yeah. Last word.
Yeah, I'll get that in there. I just want to like lock us in on that so that we can.
Like, edit that last